This is Kamala's great dilemma. Trump is invulnerable to an October surprise, but she is very vulnerable because she's the one who is still undefined. And as she showed in this week's Bret Baier interview, her go-to when attacked for her own actions is usually Trump is worse. Okay, we know that. But now undecided voters want to hear about you. They want someone to vote for.
That's political commentator and increasingly nervous liberal Bill Maher reluctantly admitting that Harris is very vulnerable and acknowledging that there's a strong chance that she could lose in November. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and just weeks after smugly predicting that Harris would win the general election, Bill Maher is now telling Democrats to stop hoping for an October surprise and to prepare for the worst.
And finally, New World Democrats need to stop thinking an October surprise is going to save us from a second Trump term. I mean, look at this. We've gotten so used to thinking that there's always an October surprise coming that when it doesn't happen, it actually seems weird. Like a party at Diddy's house where you just dance. The Access Hollywood tape in 2016 was a classic October surprise, and many people thought it was one that would work, as grabbing is generally frowned upon. Including by James Comey, who was so disgusted by it, he reopened an investigation into Hillary. If you're waiting for an October surprise to knock him out, dream on. There are better odds of another Joker musical. This election comes down to this. Trump has a coalition of voters made up of A, people who really do like him, and B, people who think with all of his flaws, he's still better than far-left insanity. And the voters' big doubt about Kamala is, are you part of far-left insanity? The attack ad I see 10 times a day, and a question Bret Baier aimed at her on Wednesday, was about her saying in 2019 that she supported providing taxpayer-funded sex change operations to illegal immigrants in prison. Something that's actually never happened and has no real bearing on anybody's life. But it's a litmus test for voters out there who want to know of the Democrat, is there anything your fringe can suggest that will ever make you say, no, that's ridiculous?
Well, Maher would certainly know a lot about what goes on at Diddy's parties. After all, it is rumored that he frequented a certain island that catered to an exclusive clientele, if you know what I mean, which would likely explain why he's framing Bret Baier's gotcha question to Harris as nothing more than a litmus test. Because to liberals like him, you're not allowed to have an opinion on cultural issues unless it affects you personally. That is, of course, unless it has to do with religion. Then people like Maher can get a pass to ridicule and mock anyone they want.
It's getting late early, and we can't afford any more bad answers like this one last week.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
No bueno. No. Next time, maybe try. Joe Biden generally did a good job, but sure, I wish we'd tightened the border sooner, as we have done now, and trust me, I learned my lesson, and that's never going to happen again. Kamala, it's so important that you win this election, not just for the sake of retaining a real democracy and for the good of the world, but also because I predicted a month ago you'd win this thing, and if you blow it, it's going to make me look bad. Right? I've got a really good prediction record, so please don't f this up. Kamala, ever since I put down my marker on you and said you'd win and I wasn't even worried about it, everyone, everywhere, on the road, in LA, texting me, emailing me, stopping me in restaurants, asking me, Bill, are you sure? No, I'm not sure. What am I, Kreskin? Of course I'm not sure, but that's my gut. I think Kamala Harris wants this. I think she can do this, to say nothing of, if she loses, She'll never hear the end of it from Joe, I told you I was the only one who could beat him, Biden.
You know, there appears to be a real buyer's remorse setting in with Democrats lately. Although I'm not sure you can call them buyers since she was forced upon them by the ruling class. Regardless, you can feel the liberal hive mind begin to panic and the establishment doing everything in its power to hide who Harris is from voters. I mean, the left keeps wondering why nothing seems to stick to Trump, but it's because people know who he is, warts and all. That's obviously not the case with Harris, and it looks like it's going to bite them in the rear this upcoming election. But let me know what you think. Is there anything Democrats can do now to turn this thing around, or are their fates sealed this election? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye!